Today we're going to talk about the Vita, so you better watch out. Because I got a cane that's a sword also. And that's always a dangerous mixture. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the Vita. The PlayStation Vita, and hopefully not drop it because that would be awful. Now this is a 3G version. I got the 3G that came with an 8 gig memory card with no game. I couldn't actually find any of the bundle games. Apparently they like almost all sold out. And that kind of makes sense because they're going on to the new model. So, you know, this model is becoming obsolete, the 1000 model, and they're going on to the 2000 model. So, of course, they're going to run out. But the price drop in November, it really makes sense they were running out. This came with an 8 gig memory card, like I said. And what the 3G is, it's a cell phone radio tower crap. And I believe that was located in this corner, yes. Right there is the SIM card that, if you're familiar with cell phones, uses. To my understanding, that is a paid service, though, and with AT&T only, if I recall also. So basically, if you're not AT&T, that's basically absolutely worthless to you. However you are, you can probably make use of that and use the radio towers to actually play online. So that depends on that. I have a pay-to-go phone, so obviously that's not much use to me. I got simply just for the 8 gig to get something, because the standalone, that's just this, no memory card, no game. It's like, and it's not even the 3G. It's like, fuck that. But anyway, to talk a little bit, the game goes inside the slot here where it says Vita, and then here is a mysterious slot that is removed in the 2000 model in the Japan version, and it is assumed that when America gets it in I believe May is when it's coming out, it will also be gone on there supposedly, so it's still unknown what it was meant for. Volume buttons, you still have show buttons. In the bottom you have a volume, sound out. The middle one is the charger. You do have a little circular thing so you can get kind of wrist strap on either side. And the power button, I forgot to mention, is right there on the top. You have 2 analog sticks on the Vita, unlike the PSP, and they're actual sticks and not a little nub, because so many people bitched about that. I personally never had a problem with the nub for long term, as long as it was wisely used. You of course have the classic plus pad. You have a PlayStation button like on a PS3 that you would use. Start, select, face buttons. Now there was a camera there in the corner, and there was also a camera in the top middle. And then there were touch screens on the front screen and the back screen have touch screens, and that's why there's fingerprints all over them. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that. The back screen, not so much, because you don't see it, and that's all it's used for. So that's not a big deal, since you're especially using your flat part. But using the actual front screen, I don't like using my fingers. So when I first tried this, I took out my DS Stylus. And here's something interesting if you don't know anything about touch screens. There were 2 types of screens. Two types. There was, I don't remember the legitimate terms, but basically one reacts to objects and another reacts to the heat of your fingers. And that's what this is. You can't use a stylus on this. And, you know, admittedly it's designed for you to actually touch it, but I don't like all my fingerprints on it. But most of the games I've tried so far have not forced it except for one. And in case you're wondering which games I've gotten to try on my Vita, they will Touch My Katamari, Dumba Wamba Trigger Happy Havoc, Silent Hill Book of Memories, and Soul Sacrifice. I have played the majority of these two, and I plan on trying some more Soul Sacrifice. Book of Memories, I need to play some more to get Force Suppressions, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing a whole lot of it. But, to talk about basically the playstyle, Touch My Count My, I think, makes the best use of the controls so far. It introduced stretching, so you can use the back screen to actually customize the length of the katamari sideways or even upward and down, make it really skinny and tall. So you could actually strategically make a few interesting ideas though. Whole bunch of shit you can roll up, stretch out instead of like going, you would just go plow through it all. A little thin path with something up there will get skinny and go whoop. It does have front touchscreen controls too, which I did not use because, like I said, I do not actually want to be forced to touch the screen. And I will talk about Silent Hill Book of Memories. I do have some stuff to talk about though. But it does give you touchscreen. I'd say it's very nice. It gives you not only the classic using the analog sticks, touchscreen, but it also gives you an even simplistic version where you just use one analog stick. And if you are new to the Katamari series, that is really weird because you use both analog sticks in all the Katamaris, so it's a bit of a bizarre thing, but I guess it's nice. It is, admittedly, it did strain my thumb a bit after some excessive play. It's kind of like had that Guitar Man feel from the PSP. So I guess in a way that is a little more relaxing. It does suffer the kind of weight issue for long excessive time period of supporting it in your hands. I mean, it's not severely heavy. I mean, like the DS, you know, you got the extra screen with nothing under it. But I've found excessive time period, which is mostly to blame on, of course, Trigger Happy Havoc for being a visual novel. It does put some strain on your hands of that, so I wouldn't recommend massive, extensive time with it, of course. There is a thing I've been thinking about getting that basically kind of makes an overgrown PS3 controller with a grip thing on the side. I've been thinking about trying that maybe. It might help. It's probably more because, you know, I have big, fat, meaty hands, unlike, you know, younger people or girls who would have small hands, you know. So that might actually kind of help separate my hands a little away from the analog sticks instead of making all my thumbs feel all really claustrophobic near it. And I will probably give that a try. So Katamari, Touch My Katamari gives a nice options and the kind of a nice trial one with the controls so far that I've seen. Silent Hill Book of Memories, in my opinion, and if I do Force Suppressions, it's definitely going to be something I'll be very annoyed about. I think it was a launch title, a very early title in the Vita's life. It basically suffers like Zombie U, where it's like, hey, look, there's all this stuff. Instead of making it all very customizable or give different options, we're just going to force you to use certain things for the sake of being gimmicky. And one thing that really bothers me the most is when you go to the shop. There is a shopkeeper who you can buy and sell goods. When you first talk to him, you can use the controls. But once you get in, you can use the controls to select stuff, but to sell or buy, you have to touch the screen. And then again, you can use the controls to say yes or no to, are you okay with that? Why go between, and you can use the touch screen for all those menus, but I mean, if you're going to do that, I mean, why have this weird confliction? I can use the controls, and I can't, and then I can again. Like, why not let me do all the controls or all the touchscreen? Give both of those options, in my opinion, would be best. Because, you know, obviously some people will like using the touchscreen. I personally don't, but that's just me, you know? Some people will like that. And I think giving both options is a better idea than giving one or the other. I think that's the ultimate choice. But for me, I would have just chosen having mostly, or allow me to use the back screen. I'm a lot better with the back screen. It does use a lot of touching for different objects in that. I don't find the touch screen in the front as bad, but sometimes the back screen does have, I don't know, I feel like I need to push a little harder on it. And it makes me wonder a little bit. Now, I haven't played a lot of Soul Sacrifice, I only played a little. It seems like a really kind of medieval Monster Hunter, and I've only played very little. I have not actually seen any use of the touch screens for it, so I can't really comment on that. Trigger Happy Havoc uses a little of it as optional, where you can use touchscreen or use the normal original controls from the PSP version. So I think it and Touch My Katamari give the best control options, allowing you to use the touch and non-touch stuff for your own personal preference. And I think that's definitely something developers need to keep in mind when they're making, like, for this and the Wii U. And, of course, the DS, too. I mean, there were only original DS titles. I don't remember what it was called. It was, like, some based off, like, an anime with kids racing on dragons and shit. And it had so many touchscreen things and shit. It's almost like you need to hold the stylus in your mouth so you can jump while controlling the shit and stuff. It was, like, fucking crazy. But, whew. Overall, I'm actually liking it. I just wish it was a little more comfortable to play for 30 minutes to an hour. It just starts making my my right hand kind of cramp up a little bit. But my left one hasn't had any real problems, and that's probably because, you know, with the original PSP, you only had a nub on the left, and now you have a one on the right, and the right one usually controls cameras and shit. So now it's going over here instead of over here on the PSP. So I would see that probably would make sense why it's like that. The resolution, quality, the picture and everything looks gorgeous. I mean, my Touch My Katamari upgraded the King. He's a lot more 3D instead of very 2D artsy, and there's a lot of detail on his face and talking. And that's mostly because it has a wardrobe where you can basically change his outfit and shit, so. But the details and everything, in my opinion, are very nice. I'm sure people who are into resolutions and blowing my eyes out frames per second would probably downgrade it, but I think it's much nice. I mean, considering, you know, we talked about the One Piece game, that was originally a PSP title. This was also a PSP title. It looks gorgeous on the Vita, and it's all in a really mix of 2D and 3D and very strange stylized imagery. So, I definitely think that was a very worthy pull, and I definitely look forward to its sequel. So I'd say right now there is a pretty nice selection of games. There's still a few more games I want to get, and we're about to get some of our first RPGs for the Vita. Mind Zero and what was it? There was something else that was also coming on the Vita, and I'm sure somebody will leave that. And then there is a roguelike, the Cursed Koi, Sorcery of the Cursed Koi or something like that. I gotta check that one out too. But there are some RPGs showing up on it. It has a pretty decent library now. And it's only $199. And if you want the 1000 model, I would recommend getting it now. Because they are apparently going extinct on the market. I really had a hard time finding one. I had to actually go to Walmart to get that one. GameStop, you know, the manager there, I always say, is a good contact for me. You know, good source of finding stuff for me. She does a very good job on that. And again, it's the only reason I have to go there to find certain things. She couldn't find anything. They were like non-existent in GameStop stock. So they seemingly, in a new sense, they're selling out. In a used sense, I'm sure they're plentiful. But in a new sense, they seem to be running out. So the 2000 model will still be $199 when it launches, and I'm pretty sure it was in March. And it's going to be bundled with, there will be a bundle with Borderlands 2 with all its DLC, I believe, but it's all digital. The GameStop manager did tell me that when I was deciding about getting the Vita. And it comes with an 8 gig memory card and that. But I was kind of like, I've been with a lot of video game systems and that. I always seem to find that usually the first models hold up much superior than the later versions. Usually, not always. I mean, the 360 is probably a good example of that. Launch 360s were very bad and washed. But Sony's always seem to be in that category, A lot of early systems always seem to be built better than later on as they're using cheaper parts and stuff or taking shit out and that. I definitely like my original PSP much better than the one I use for recording. The back piece feels like shit in that. So that's why I decided to get the 1000 model instead of the 2000 model. Of course, that was a risk, Maybe the 2000 model will end up better, but I'm liking it. It seems nice, and there's going to be more games coming out. Mine Zero, definitely looking forward to that. It being basically a Persona kind of whip-off thing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, as long as you're not like, okay, we're going to make a time series out of this, let's make like 10 games of it, and then it would be kind of bad. But I'm liking it, I'm enjoying it. I really feel like a lot of modern handhelds are having a lot issue trying to feel comfortable in your hands lately these days. I never had these problems back with the original Game Boy or the Game Boy Advance. This feels like they're making them so bulky now. But it's not too bad. And I'm going to try that grip thing. I'm thinking I'm going to try it. And I need to find a decent case for it. Because one thing I really hate about it, in a sense, like, I think it's an interesting idea. But, obviously you don't want to carry it in your pocket like this. Both screens are vulnerable. So, getting a case for travel is definitely an ASP thing. And, I mean, just sitting around my house I'm worried about. Because, obviously, the back screen, if it slides or something. So, I've been keeping in the little foam thing it came in until I can find a decent hard case for it. So, I do worry about that sense of it. But so far, it's pretty enjoyable, and it's $199, which isn't that bad for a system. I mean, there's much worse things you could be doing with that. And like I said, it's having a decent library. It's having a much more decent library than the Wii U, which, I mean, considering it's only had, like, one new game, which was the new Donkey Kong game, like, Nintendo is going to have to work a lot on the games here. I mean, personally, my opinion with the modern consoles right now, it's probably going to be PS4, Wii U, and the Xbox One, because a lot of people are bashing the Xbox One in different ways, from people of my angle, and then the high resolution people are being the living fuck out of it too. So, but that's a whole new topic. Overall, I think if there was some games you're interested in the Vita, I think it's a recommendable device. I'm liking it. Of course, I can't comment on the 2000 model because I don't own it, and I probably have no real plans to, unless it actually happened to have TV output, which I would be incredibly pissed about because the Japanese one didn't have it, so, and they said they had no plans for it, so I would be kind of pissed about if they did that. So anywho, and also I am taking recommendations for Vita games. There are more games I want to check out. So if you happen to be a Vita goer for longer than I have been, feel free to leave a comment on some Vita games you would recommend that you think are pretty good and that I might be interested in. And with these cases going now. But I like it, I'm enjoying it, it's sleek, it's sexy, it's a little uncomfortable in the hands, but most modern handhelds have been doing that for quite a while since they've entered the 3D age, so I don't know what to really say much though. It's not the worst thing I've held in my hand, that's for sure. There's a lot worse things though. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Got any questions or anything? Feel free to leave a comment down below. And hopefully at some time, when Over My Dead Body 2 comes out, I can experience how the importing, because it's supposedly not region free, and I do need to look more into that. It's supposedly region free, but I think I remember reading somewhere that the memory cards are actually region locked. So Like, I'm not sure if they meant, like, I need a memory card of the country of the game or something. Like, I need to look more into that, or maybe somebody can inform me better of that. I think it was something from somebody on Twitter that was talking about Vita imports of that. But either way, that's, you know, a whole nother subject. Well, actually, there is one more thing to probably talk on that. You can only have one PSN account on the Vita. Now, you can put another one on, but you have to basically clearly wipe the one that's all way on it to put another one on it. So, I know there is a system to deal with multiple PSN accounts, but it's basically a lot of hassle. So, there exist methods, but it's a lot of hassle. So, if you're into the digital importing, it still exists, but you're going to have to go through a lot more hassle. Anyway, if you got any questions, that, you know, down below, and I'm milking the video. Anyway, let's get out of here. Peace out.